If you want to understand why two people with very similar genetic risks can experience completely different outcomes when it comes to serious illness, you have to look beyond their genes. You have to look at their daily habits, especially what they eat. For a long time, many people believed that once cells become damaged at the genetic level, there is very little we can do about it. The idea was simple: genetics determine your future. But modern research has been quietly revealing something far more complex. Your body is not passive. Every day, it is actively repairing damaged cells, identifying abnormal cells, and removing them before they become a problem. In fact, scientists now understand something that often surprises people. Small clusters of abnormal cells appear in the human body regularly. This is a natural part of biology. Your body contains tens of trillions of cells, and those cells are constantly dividing and replacing themselves. During that process, copying errors occasionally occur. Think of it like photocopying a document thousands of times. Eventually, a few pages will contain small mistakes. Your body encounters these kinds of cellular mistakes every single day. The reason most of them never become dangerous is because your body has powerful defense systems designed to deal with them. Your immune system acts like a surveillance network. Specialized cells patrol the body looking for abnormal cells and removing them before they grow. Your cells also contain sophisticated DNA repair systems that constantly monitor genetic material and fix damage when it occurs. In many cases, problems are corrected before you ever notice anything. But there is one factor that determines whether a tiny cluster of abnormal cells stays harmless or begins to grow. That factor is blood supply. Every cell in your body requires oxygen and nutrients to survive. Without those resources, cells cannot grow or expand. This is where an important biological process comes into play. It's called angiogenesis. Angiogenesis simply means the formation of new blood vessels. Your body carefully regulates this process. When tissues need more oxygen or nutrients, new blood vessels grow. When enough vessels are present, growth stops. This balance is extremely important. Too few blood vessels can cause tissues to weaken. Too many blood vessels can lead to abnormal growth. Under healthy conditions, your body keeps this system tightly controlled. But abnormal cells sometimes try to manipulate that system. They release signals that encourage new blood vessels to grow toward them. Once those blood vessels arrive, something remarkable happens. Growth accelerates. A cluster of abnormal cells that once remained tiny can begin expanding rapidly once it gains access to nutrients. Without blood supply, a cluster of abnormal cells often remains extremely small, but when circulation reaches it, growth conditions change dramatically. This is why scientists have spent decades studying ways to regulate angiogenesis. Some medical treatments even work by blocking abnormal blood vessel growth. But researchers made an interesting discovery while studying these mechanisms. Certain compounds found in everyday foods appear to influence the same biological pathways. These foods do not replace medical treatment, but they may support the body's natural defense systems in ways researchers did not fully appreciate decades ago. Even more fascinating, some foods appear to support the body's natural DNA repair processes. And that brings us to something extremely important. Your DNA is constantly under stress. Sunlight, environmental pollutants, normal metabolism. Even the process of producing energy inside cells can create molecules that damage DNA. Your body has repair systems designed to correct this damage, but those repair systems require nutrients to function efficiently. Without the right nutritional support, damage can accumulate faster than it can be repaired. Imagine a road developing cracks. If repair crews have the right materials, they fix the cracks quickly. But if repairs are delayed long enough, those cracks grow into potholes. The same principle applies to DNA. Proper nutrition helps maintain the tools your cells use for repair, and this is where certain foods begin to stand out in research. Some contain compounds that help support DNA repair. Others appear to influence immune activity, and some seem to affect the signals that control abnormal blood vessel growth. In other words, nutrition may influence several layers of the body's protective systems. In this video, we're going to look at several foods that scientists have studied closely for their potential role in supporting these natural processes. We'll explore how some foods support DNA repair mechanisms, how certain compounds may influence blood vessel growth, how nutrition can help support immune cells responsible for detecting abnormal cells, and most importantly, how you can include these foods in your daily routine. Before we continue, a quick question. How many servings of fruits and vegetables do you usually eat each day? Write your answer in the comments. Many people are surprised when they begin paying attention to this number, and small changes can often make a meaningful difference over time. Now let's begin with one of the most surprising foods in this area of research, because it's something many people see in the grocery store every week without realizing how interesting its nutritional profile really is. And that food is kiwi. Let's begin with kiwi fruit. At first glance, kiwi doesn't look like anything extraordinary. It's small, simple, and often overlooked compared to more popular fruits. But when scientists began studying how different foods influence cellular health, kiwi produced results that surprised many researchers. One study from a European research group examined how regular kiwi consumption influenced markers of DNA damage in human cells. Participants were asked to include kiwi fruit in their daily diet for several weeks. Researchers then measured indicators of oxidative stress and DNA strand damage. What they observed was fascinating. Individuals who consumed kiwi regularly showed noticeably lower levels of DNA damage markers compared to their baseline measurements. Even more interesting, the cells of these participants appeared to show improved activity in natural DNA repair processes. Why would kiwi have this effect? The answer lies in its nutrient composition. Kiwi is extremely rich in vitamin C, but vitamin C alone does not explain the full effect. Kiwi also contains polyphenols, carotenoids, flavonoids, and fiber. These compounds interact in complex ways. Antioxidants neutralize molecules known as free radicals. Free radicals are unstable molecules that can damage DNA strands. When antioxidants neutralize these molecules, they reduce the likelihood that DNA damage will accumulate. But kiwi offers something else that researchers find interesting. It supports the gut microbiome. Your digestive system contains trillions of microorganisms. These microbes influence many systems throughout the body, including immune function and inflammation. Some fibers found in kiwi act as prebiotics. This means they feed beneficial gut bacteria. Healthy gut bacteria produce compounds that support immune activity and reduce harmful inflammation. And that connection between the microbiome and immune health has become one of the most exciting areas of modern research. Because your immune system is one of the body's primary defense systems against abnormal cells. When immune cells function efficiently, they identify and remove damaged or abnormal cells more effectively. Now let's move to another food that researchers have studied extensively, and this one has been consumed for thousands of years: green tea. Green tea has attracted scientific attention because of compounds known as catechins. The most studied of these compounds is called EGCG. EGCG belongs to a group of plant chemicals known as polyphenols. These compounds act as antioxidants. But researchers discovered that EGCG may also influence several biological pathways related to cellular growth and inflammation. One area that scientists find particularly interesting involves angiogenesis. Remember the process we discussed earlier, the formation of new blood vessels. Under healthy conditions, the body carefully regulates this process. But abnormal cells sometimes attempt to stimulate excessive blood vessel growth. Certain compounds in green tea appear to interact with signals that regulate this process. Laboratory studies have shown that EGCG can influence pathways involved in abnormal blood vessel formation. This doesn't mean green tea replaces medical treatment, but it demonstrates how natural compounds may interact with the same biological systems scientists study when developing medications. Another benefit of green tea is its impact on inflammation. Chronic inflammation has been linked to many long-term health concerns. Polyphenols in green tea appear to help support balanced inflammatory responses. Green tea is also associated with metabolic benefits. It may support healthy blood sugar balance and cardiovascular health. But preparation matters. To obtain the most beneficial compounds, green tea should be brewed properly. Water that is too hot can damage delicate polyphenols. Ideally, the water should be hot but not fully boiling. Allowing the tea to steep for several minutes helps release the active compounds. Adding lemon juice may also increase the stability of certain catechins during digestion. Now let's move to another food that has received enormous attention in nutritional research: blueberries. Blueberries contain powerful plant pigments known as anthocyanins. These pigments give berries their deep blue and purple colors, but they also act as potent antioxidants. Anthocyanins appear to support immune function, circulation, and cellular protection. Researchers have examined how berries influence immune cells responsible for identifying abnormal cells. In some studies, participants who consumed anthocyanin-rich foods showed increased activity of certain immune cells. These immune cells act as surveillance units in the body. They continuously monitor tissues and help eliminate damaged cells. Blueberries also support brain health. Some studies suggest they may support cognitive function and memory as people age. This may be related to their effects on circulation and inflammation. What makes berries especially useful is how easy they are to include in daily meals. They can be added to yogurt, oatmeal, smoothies, or eaten on their own as a snack. Frozen berries work just as well as fresh ones. In some cases, frozen berries may even preserve nutrients effectively because they are frozen shortly after harvest. Now here's where the research becomes even more fascinating. Scientists are beginning to understand that foods rarely act alone. Instead, combinations of foods often create stronger effects than single foods consumed in isolation. This concept is known as nutritional synergy. Different compounds interact with each other. Vitamin C may enhance absorption of certain antioxidants. Healthy fats may increase absorption of fat-soluble compounds. Fiber may support beneficial bacteria that help metabolize plant compounds. In other words, the foods you combine together may matter as much as the individual foods themselves. And that leads us to another category of foods scientists study frequently in this area: cruciferous vegetables, especially broccoli. Now let's talk about broccoli. At first glance, broccoli seems like a very ordinary vegetable, but researchers studying nutrition and cellular health often place broccoli near the top of the list. The reason is a compound called sulforaphane. Sulforaphane belongs to a group of natural chemicals known as isothiocyanates. These compounds are produced when broccoli is chopped, chewed, or digested, and scientists have spent years investigating how they interact with the body's natural defense systems. One of the most interesting things about sulforaphane is its effect on detoxification pathways. Your body constantly encounters environmental chemicals. Air pollution, pesticides, food additives, and other compounds all require processing and elimination. Sulforaphane appears to activate certain protective enzymes that help the body neutralize and remove these compounds. This process supports the body's natural detoxification systems. But that's only part of the story. Sulforaphane has also been studied for its influence on cellular signaling pathways related to inflammation and oxidative stress. In simple terms, it helps support an environment inside the body that is less favorable for abnormal cellular growth. What many people don't realize is that the young sprouts of broccoli contain extremely high levels of sulforaphane. In fact, some studies suggest broccoli sprouts may contain far higher concentrations of this compound than mature broccoli. These sprouts are simply very young broccoli plants harvested just a few days after germination. They are small, slightly spicy in flavor, and can easily be added to salads, sandwiches, or smoothies. Even small amounts provide concentrated levels of beneficial compounds. But if sprouts aren't available, regular broccoli still provides excellent nutritional support. Light steaming for a few minutes may actually improve the availability of certain compounds while preserving nutrients. Boiling for long periods, however, may reduce some of these benefits. Now let's move to another food group that has been widely discussed in nutritional science: soy foods. This includes foods like tofu, tempeh, soybeans, and soy milk. Soy contains compounds known as isoflavones. Isoflavones are plant molecules that interact with certain receptors in the body. Because of this, soy foods have been studied extensively in relation to hormone balance and cellular health. For many years, there was confusion about whether soy foods were beneficial or harmful, but large population studies have helped clarify the picture. In several regions where soy foods are consumed regularly, researchers have observed lower rates of certain health conditions compared with populations that consume very little soy. Scientists believe this may be related to the complex mix of nutrients and plant compounds found in soy. Isoflavones appear to influence cellular signaling pathways and inflammatory responses. They may also interact with mechanisms involved in blood vessel growth. This has made soy one of the most frequently studied plant foods in nutrition science. Another advantage of soy foods is their high-quality plant protein. Protein is important not only for muscle maintenance, but also for supporting many cellular processes throughout the body. Foods like tofu and tempeh can easily be incorporated into meals. They absorb flavors well and work in a variety of recipes. Now let's move to another food that has attracted enormous attention from researchers: tomatoes. Tomatoes are rich in a compound called lycopene. Lycopene is a carotenoid responsible for the bright red color of tomatoes, but its role goes far beyond appearance. Lycopene acts as a powerful antioxidant. Researchers have studied its potential role in supporting cellular protection and reducing oxidative stress. One interesting discovery is that cooking tomatoes increases the availability of lycopene. Heat breaks down the plant cell structure and allows the body to absorb more of this compound. That means foods like tomato sauce, roasted tomatoes, and tomato paste may actually provide more usable lycopene than raw tomatoes. Another important detail involves healthy fats. Lycopene is a fat-soluble compound. This means it is absorbed more effectively when eaten with a small amount of healthy fat. For example, tomatoes cooked with olive oil allow the body to absorb lycopene more efficiently. Tomatoes also contain vitamin C, potassium, and several other beneficial plant compounds. When combined with other nutrient-rich foods, they become part of a balanced dietary pattern that supports overall health. Now, there's one more category of food that researchers have found particularly interesting, and that is pomegranate. Now, let's talk about pomegranate. This fruit has been valued in traditional diets for centuries, but only in recent years have scientists begun to fully understand why it attracts so much attention in research. Pomegranates contain powerful plant compounds called elagitannins. These compounds are converted by beneficial gut bacteria into molecules known as urolithins, and those molecules appear to influence several important processes in the body. One of the most interesting connections involves the gut microbiome. Your digestive system contains trillions of microorganisms. These microbes influence immune function, metabolism, and even inflammation levels throughout the body. Researchers have discovered that certain beneficial bacteria may play an important role in supporting immune responses. One of the most studied bacteria in this area is Akkermansia muciniphila. This bacterium appears to support a balanced gut environment and may influence immune activity. Foods rich in polyphenols and fiber, such as pomegranate, help nourish beneficial microbes like this. That connection between diet, gut bacteria, and immune function has become one of the most exciting areas of modern health research. Because your immune system plays a central role in monitoring cellular health, when immune cells function efficiently, they are better able to detect abnormal cells and maintain balance in the body. This is one reason why nutrition patterns rich in plant-based foods are often associated with long-term health benefits. But an important point must be emphasized. No single food works like a magic solution. The real power comes from patterns. A consistent dietary pattern that includes a variety of nutrient-rich foods provides the body with the building blocks it needs for repair, defense, and balance. Let's quickly review the foods we discussed. Kiwi provides powerful antioxidant support and nutrients that help protect DNA from oxidative stress. Green tea offers polyphenols that support balanced inflammation and healthy cellular signaling. Blueberries contain anthocyanins that help support immune activity and circulation. Cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli provide sulforaphane, a compound linked with detoxification pathways. Soy foods contain isoflavones and plant proteins that have been widely studied in nutrition science. Tomatoes offer lycopene, a carotenoid that acts as a powerful antioxidant, especially when tomatoes are cooked. And pomegranate supports beneficial gut bacteria through polyphenols that nourish the microbiome. Each of these foods works through slightly different biological pathways. Some support antioxidant defenses, others influence inflammation, some help nourish beneficial bacteria, and some appear to influence cellular signaling pathways related to blood vessel growth and immune activity. But when these foods are combined regularly in a balanced diet, their effects may complement each other. This is why scientists often talk about dietary patterns rather than individual foods. The Mediterranean diet, for example, emphasizes many of these same foods: fruits, vegetables, legumes, healthy fats, and plant-based nutrients. And populations following this type of dietary pattern often show better long-term health outcomes. Another important principle is consistency. Your body's protective systems respond best to steady daily support. A cup of berries each morning, a serving of vegetables at lunch, green tea during the afternoon. Small habits repeated consistently may have a greater impact than occasional extreme changes. The goal is not perfection, it's balance and progress over time. One practical approach is to begin by adding just one or two of these foods into your routine. For example, add berries to breakfast, drink green tea in the afternoon, include broccoli or leafy vegetables with dinner. These small adjustments are easy to maintain, and over time, they become natural habits. Remember, your body already contains powerful defense systems. Your immune system monitors cellular health. Your cells constantly repair DNA damage. Your body carefully regulates blood vessel growth and inflammation. Nutrition simply helps provide the resources these systems need to function effectively. When you support your body with balanced nutrition, sleep, movement, and stress management, you create an environment where these protective mechanisms can do their job. And that's the key idea. Health isn't determined by a single decision. It's shaped by daily choices repeated over years. If you found this information helpful, consider sharing it with someone who might benefit from learning about the connection between nutrition and long-term health. Many people are surprised to discover how much research exists on this topic, and sometimes a small change in daily habits can become the beginning of a much healthier lifestyle. Also, consider subscribing to the channel if you enjoy learning about science-based approaches to healthy aging. Each week, we explore nutrition, mobility, and daily habits that help people stay active and independent later in life. Take care of your body, stay curious, and remember, the choices you make today help shape the health you experience tomorrow.